Hey everyone, welcome to the UFO Hub live stream. Today's guest is going to be Sherry Wilde, and a lot of you have requested for her to be on again and been emailing and asking and asking. And finally, I got a message from Sherry saying, I'm ready whenever you are, so we were able to schedule it today. So it worked out for both of us. I almost canceled today, and I've been trying my hardest not to. The reason is that maybe you notice it, I have this, I don't know, for at least 2 weeks now, these coughing fits that I get into, and it just makes it very difficult trying to have a show while I'm just, just talking like belong here. So anyway, I'm going to have Sherry most of the time be on her camera. So in case I have to go crazy, most of you are not going to witness it. But anyway, there's a few things I would like to cover before we get to Sherry. So this is not going to be an interview per se, because Sherry and I have done many different interviews, and in the description below, I've pasted a link of our very first interview where she tells her story and her experiences. So if you were hoping to hear some of that, I'm sorry, you might hear it, might not, depends on who asks what question. So in either case, nothing is lost. Even you could still participate and listen to this one and then go back and learn more about Sherry. Also, I have her link to her website on there as well, and she's also the author of The Forgotten Promise, which kind of jump-started this whole thing for her. So I definitely encourage everyone watching to go get her book and go to her website. And I say that very openly and shamelessly, because it is a great book, and really for those experiencing things and for those that are just getting into the subject, it is a wealth of information. And so if you want to cut through and really kind of start immediately graduating from level 1 till all the way to 10 and then pick up from there, that book is definitely it. So with that being said, we're going to be going into Q&A fairly soon. So for those of you that are watching on Skype and YouTube, you will be able to basically when you write out your comment, if it's a question for Sherry, please put 3 asterisks there before your question, so that way it pops out at me and I know it's not just a regular chatter. And if you would like to talk to Sherry directly, right now there's a Telegram voice chat going on, and you can listen to this interview there. And also then when the time comes, there's a little button there where you press it and it raises your hand, which tells me that you would like to ask her a question. So you have those 2 avenues. Yep, I think I'm just trying to remember if I forgot anything else. So right now we're basically gonna just start out the interview, but I'm seeing Sherry's not. Oh, there she is. Okay, so I'm gonna. She disappeared there for a second. I was gonna bring her in, but there would just be an empty chair. So questions will be coming up very soon, so please go ahead and start submitting them. I'm going to leave it up to Sherry how soon we go to the questions, because she might want to announce something, talk about something first before we get going. So let me bring in Sherry. Welcome, Sherry. How are you?
I'm pretty good. The reason I disappeared is because I see my computer was almost out of juice.
Oh,
Apparently, we're in a rental, and
oh,
I've
got
had
it.
it plugged into a dead circuit or a dead socket. So I had to jump down there and plug it in so I didn't lose you. So I'm back with you, and it looks like it's charging from what I can see. So I'm
Okay.
good.
Good deal. Well, I'm glad you did that, because I'd hate to disconnect with you. Although we could
Yeah.
connect again. But so Sherry, if there's something that you would like to start out with, I figured I'll open the floor to you, and please feel free. And then you just let me know when to open up for Q&A.
Oh, well, we can do Q&A anytime. I'm good with that. I don't have a lot to say. I get tired of hearing myself talk. Um, I'll just say what everybody is saying, which is these are really interesting times. And I was going to go back to my book actually and read what I wrote about it. The book is already 10 years old, almost 10 years old. And so, but I wrote it, I think, in 2009, 2010. And I did talk about these times, which my guys call the Great Earth Changes, the time of the Great Earth Changes. And they they told me, that everything that is not of the light, everything that does not resonate in the frequency of love will be exposed and will be dissolved and will have to be seen for what it is. And they said everything will crumble, pretty much everything, because pretty much everything on this planet has been built on a foundation of lies and deception and greed and you name it. And so what he told me that night, I remember we had a long conversation, and he said, your governments will fall, all your institutions, your health system, your education system, everything is going to crumble and will need to be built again on a foundation of truth, honesty, love, and compassion. So that's what we're going through right now. I call it the dark night of the soul for the collective. I think that those people who are on this call probably are, for the most part, awake and have gone through their dark night of the soul. And so you know what fun that is. So we go through it individually, but we are going through it as a collective right now. And I don't know how long it's going to last, but it certainly isn't fun. But keeping a good perspective on it helps the most. If you can remember that there is a purpose to this, there's a reason why it's happening, and the end result is going to be wonderful. It's going to be a new earth. But in the meantime, we just have to see everything for what it is, and just hold our own strength and stand in the strength of who we are, which is what Da has told me a lot. Stand in the strength of who you are, because if you can do that, then the chaos that's going on around you in the outer world, it doesn't really touch you, it doesn't affect you. And that's critically important right now, because we have to keep our frequency high, individually and collectively, because that's kind of like what's pulling us along and taking us to the higher frequencies with planet Earth. And the more we can do that, the faster in time, such as it is, the illusion of time, we will get there. So that's all I would say to jumpstart the conversation. And not that I'm willing to talk about anything anybody's interested in talking about, but I know a lot of people are right now looking at the world and wondering what the hell is going on. It's crazy out there, but you can almost, I don't want to say you can laugh at it, because there's some serious crap going on, but at the most part you can at least have a lighter step with it than taking it too seriously and falling into fear, because you don't want to do that. So that's all I have to say, Adnan.
Well, I want to take advantage of asking the first question, and we already have quite a few that have come in. Those are listening on Telegram. Whenever they're ready, just make sure you raise your hand, and then I'll add you to my queue. But the question / statement is this: something interesting that I found when you and I, for example, talk, and most people watching this, when we talk about the good guys and the bad guys, right? We approach it from the perspective that we have this mindset, and when we talk about these bad guys, is that they're against for what we stand for, right? And that's how we know, okay, these are the bad people because we stand for this, and they're going against that. Therefore, they're the opposite. If we're playing that game. Right? What I found very interesting is that I've had a guest on, and this guest was definitely on the opposite spectrum of you and I, like entirely, full 180. And one of my friends was on the phone with him and was asking, are the good guys winning or are they losing? And it was so interesting, because I realized when he answered the question, he was answering it from his side and his perspective, to where on my end, it would be, do you see what I'm saying? From my end, it would be the opposite, the people I don't agree with. So when he was talking about are we winning, right? About meaning like vaccines and the mandates, are they going down and all this other stuff? Are they going to be disconnected? From his point of view, that was a loss, because this person was for all that. You see what I'm saying? So I've noticed the what?
He realized they were losing?
No, he didn't. I realized it, because the way we're asking questions, and when we say the good guys and the bad guys, I was just like, oh, wait a minute, we have to almost establish the perspective. I'd hate for a person I'm interviewing to come out and say all the things that they stand for, but at least if we're talking about if somebody comes on to you and let's say they're on the opposite spectrum of you and say, are the good guys winning? Well, their good guys are to you the bad guys. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah, so my question to you, Adnan, is how did he answer? Did he say that they're winning, which means, that's bad for us? Or
No,
did he
no,
say,
there was doubt. There was doubt.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I was looking for.
Which was
Yeah,
a good thing for us on this
yeah,
spectrum. But I
yeah.
realized that when we talk about these things, everyone coming onto the show or watching, we always come with these assumptions that this is how it is, and we're like, well, wait a minute, we're not all on the same mindset here. So when we're talking about good or bad, you can literally, have a totally different understanding from an interview from a different point of view.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's all perspective. Everybody has a different perspective.
Right.
Absolutely. Good point. Really good
Okay.
point.
So anyway, yeah, I just thought that was something that was funny because I just assumed we're all on the same page, and I was like, nope, the question you just asked is not how he took it. So anyway,
Yeah.
the first question is from Haunt and Oliver Adventures, asking, what's the difference between density and dimensions?
Oh, yeah. That's a tricky one, isn't it? Let's see if I can answer it. The way to explain it, I think, is the dimension is more of a location, I think, possibly. It's more of a, in time space, a location. It's a dimension, it's an actual place. Density is more of is a frequency. It's an energetic frequency. And so your energy can be, so if I say I was from the sixth density, that doesn't mean I was from sixth dimension. It means I was from sixth density. So there's a difference between the two of them for sure. I don't know if that helped at all, but that's as far as I'm going to go into it because to try to explain it, it's a slippery slope. I'd find myself fumbling through it. But I think that to me made the most sense. I think I read that definition or heard it somewhere, and it was like, well, I got to remember that because dimension is more of a location. And it's more tied to like second dimension, third dimension. It's based on the dimensions, the physicality, the aspects of the physicality, whereas density is tied to the frequency, the energetic stamp, the energetic frequency you have, if that makes sense.
I thank you for that.
Yeah.
The next question is from Magnetized Light, asking if you ever had the experience of looking down on the earth from high above while on a ship. I'm wondering if, upon reflection, you think the ETs were using artificial gravity.
Artificial gravity.
Meaning, if you were on their ship and you were basically not within our gravity, were they using an artificial gravity to still, I guess, keep you on a surface?
Yeah, okay, because...
if I'm understanding it correctly.
I have been, I've definitely been on the ship and looked down at the earth, more than a few times. And it's a humbling experience. It's absolutely beautiful to do that. As far as I'm using artificial, when you're on the ship, I've been on the ship in my physical form, which is the form I remember being in when I did look down on the earth. I was absolutely in my body, in physicality, and looking out through the big window that they had. I've been on the ship in my ET form, and I've been there in my etheric form, which is closely related to my ET form, but it's not got the physicality to it. But they kind of look the same. So I've been on the ship in those different modalities, and yeah, you see the planet, you see Earth below you, you see other planets, and you see, of course, the vastness of space. Because I guess it must be because without the artificial light on the planet, when you look out at the darkness, at the sky, or what would be space, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. The stars and everything. It looks. It's hard. You can't describe it. It's very beautiful. But artificial gravity. I hope that answers your question. They have gravity on the ships. I guess something's there because you're not floating around. So there's something that keeps you standing on the floor and upright. So.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
Penny Coons is asking, will people that are awake be rescued when disaster occurs? If so, where would we go?
This is a conversation I have a lot with some of my awakened friends, and we talk about it a lot. And there's a lot of different opinions um, among us. I don't really voice an opinion on it because I don't know, and I don't know if it's been decided how it's going to play out. I think that the collective is choosing how this is going to go based every day, every moment to moment on their frequency and their thoughts and perspective. I would hope that, there'd be some kind of a relief for the light workers and the volunteers that came in, but I don't know if it's even going to be needed. Is there really going to be this big disaster? I go back to what my guides told me, and they didn't elaborate on this a lot, and I can't get information out of them. They always tell me, you know all you need to know for now, Sherry. That's their favorite answer to me. You know all you need to know for now. And what they told me back when they opened up about it the most was that there would come a day when the positive frequency people could not coexist with those who are of a negative frequency, and that the negative frequency were wanting to control and dominate the people who wanted to live in harmony and peace, had raised their frequency to the point where they were self-aware enough to know that they didn't want to choose violence anymore or any of those negative pathways. And what they said to me was the two could not coexist. They could not share the same time space. And then they showed me the ends of the magnet where they couldn't share it. They said, just like the ends of this magnet cannot share the same time space, neither can the positive and the negative, because there's too much, it was getting to be too much of a gulf between them. So they showed me that, and then I said, well, what's going to happen? And they said that the positive people, those who are polarized toward unconditional love and service to others, would stay with planet Earth as she ascended and moved into the fifth density. And those who were of a negative frequency or were unaware, the unawakened ones, for instance, they're not necessarily negative, but they're just not ready to go to 5D, that they would leave the planet. And that's what tripped my trigger, because I was standing right there and I said, leave the planet? How? How are they going to leave the planet? Are they going to die? Are you going to come pick them up on ships? What's going to happen? And I got the famous, you know all you need to know for now, Sherry. And so I don't know how it's going to play out. I can tell you that I have memories of being on other planets and assisting in their transition from one frequency to another, usually 3 on up to 5. And my memories are really clear of that. And there were cleanses that took place. The planet was cleaned. And so there was flooding or there was some kind of destruction. It depends. Each planet is different. It depends on if the whole planet needs to be destroyed, if the life forms on it need to be destroyed, if they need to be washed off, which was the way it was going to be on planet Earth. The humans were going to just be washed off, and the planet cleansed, and she would go by herself. But there were enough souls on the planet who were waking up and were asking for assistance with this time, and so that's why the call went out for volunteers and light workers to come in and assist, because it was asked for. And how it's going to play out is going to be up to the collective, just like the split. I just think the way the split happened was just genius. I mean, in a way, and this is looking, I don't want to insult anybody or hurt anybody's feelings, because the whole thing that we just went through with the lockdowns and everything, it was, and it still is, terrible. There are people suffering, especially, in China and places. It's horrific what's going on. So I'm not making light of that. I'm just saying it's an interesting way that the collective decided to bring about humanity's choice between fear and love, between wanting to stay in the 3D world or go to fifth density. And the way they did it was to this whole, can I say the word pandemic? But anyway, so that's how it was done. And so that's how I think it's going to continue to be that way, that the the collective will make the choices based on their beliefs and where they put their focus and how high their frequency is and everything else. So that's my answer.
Okay, thank you for that, Sherry. So usually what I do is I only allow a person one time to ask a question. If they have several others, I always skip over because I always want to give the other people a chance. But since we're starting Q&A early and we're doing that majority of the time, I might ask a question from the same person, basically, I might take on one or two questions depending on how they are. So for those of you watching, if I do skip you over, that's why. If I didn't, then congratulations, you made it. So anyway, the next person I have is wanting to come on through Telegram. So let me bring Anik in, and they would like you ask a question. So Anik, you are unmuted on my end. Unmute yourself on yours, and please ask your question.
Yeah, well, good evening, Sherry. I would like to know where you are from, because talking about sixth density is interesting, but where are you from? Do you have any idea where you come from? Which planet? Where exactly? Or are you like Dar, just a voyager going through? That was it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anik.
Nice to put a voice to the name, Anik. Nice to meet you. I've heard from her quite a bit, and so I appreciate her coming on. She lives over in, I believe, in Cambodia, so I'm not sure what time of the day or night it is there. So what I remember before I came here is being, I was sixth density level 2. I don't even know what that means for sure. Oh, I mean, I guess I do know what it means, but it surprised me that I brought that information with me. So I was sixth density level 2, because within each density there are steps going up through, because you can look around here. I always give the example of 3D right now. A lower 3D person and a higher 3D person. There's considerable difference as they awaken and remember the truth of who they are and all that, between a just 3D level 1 and a 3D, say, upper level. I'm not even sure how many levels there are, but say 7th level or something. So I know that that's where I came from, that density. What I believe to be my history is, because just based on memories, is that apparently I have been one of the guardians, or I've been watching over planet Earth. I watch over a lot of different planets in the system. I remember being out in space, which is a wonderful place to be. I remember just being out there and what I call listening. I was just listening, but it wasn't really listening. That's the word I use, because I was just out there and my awareness was able to overlook many planets and many different civilizations. I was just checking on them and just monitoring. That's the word I would use. I was monitoring. But Earth was of particular interest to me. And it has been for a lot of our cosmic family. They keep an eye on planet Earth. It's been one of the more interesting ones to watch it evolve and go through the changes. I visited planet Earth way back during the time of the pharaohs in Egypt. I've been on the planet many times, but always in my ET form. I never chose to incarnate. This would be my first time coming into it as a human form. And I did that out of my love for Mother Earth, definitely for Terra, call her Terra, and came to be of service to her. I kind of have a little bit of an issue with the humans because sometimes you don't always understand the motivation. It's been a really big learning experience for me and for my people to see through me just how difficult it is here. The challenges of being in form and dealing with the control system, the lies, the brainwashing, the manipulation, everything. And you realize this is no easy gig. The humans have not had it easy here at all. Not at all. And I totally reversed my I wouldn't say it was an opinion. I didn't think badly of them. I just, my focus was on Mother Earth. That's all, period. And then my heart started to open up more to the humans. I could see that they were abusing their planet out of ignorance or just simply out of being unaware. They were doing some of the things that they were doing, wars and stuff, all the things that we would look at and shake our heads and go, what are they doing? You know, why? But it's the control system. Once you hear and you start to see that, it's the controllers, the manipulators. They are the ones, they are pulling the strings, and it's very tough to awaken. So I believe myself to have been a guardian of this planet. I go back, my memories go way back to when the pyramids were put up and to before that. I mean, I can remember way, way back. And I think that that's who I am. There's been a lot of different people who have tried to read me and get who I am and where my lineage comes from and all that. But I think Alex Collier probably hit it on the head when he met me. He said that I was what he called a seeder and a founder, one of the part of the group that originally created the planet, or at least seeded it with life, and that really resonates strongly with me. So I thank you for the question, because it's nice. I like revisiting. I like remembering. I like remembering that life. So I'm looking forward to going back to it after we're done here with this mission. Okay.
Great.
Thank
Thank you for that, Sherry. The next question is also from Penny, asking, will you have a job with Da when stuff/disaster goes on?
Well, if there is a disaster, it doesn't have to be. But as we all know, awakening is not a walk in the park. It is a destructive process. It's as things get broken down. So yeah, there's going to be some trauma, definitely. I'm not sure. I know that my mission includes me staying here until the movie gets made, or now it's not a movie anymore. It's a mini series that will go on a streamer, a TV series. So it's been critically important to them. That's just a huge priority to them. It's all they want to talk to me about is the damn movie. And I thought it was pie in the sky. I never thought that a little book that I would write would ever get made into any kind of a movie. But it's rolling along, and it's taking forever, but that's the nature of the business, and it's going to be worth waiting for, and the timing is going to be when it's supposed to be. It will be coming out when it's meant to. So I don't know that I'll be leaving. You know, I wanted to leave. Anybody who's been following me, you know how badly I wanted to leave. I've been sick for the last 10 years. You know, really sick, and I certainly wanted to leave many times during that time. I can't believe I got through it, but I'm coming out.
You certainly got people worried in March, because my emails blew
Yeah.
up wondering where you were.
Yeah, I was told that I would turn the corner in March, but I was also told that my exit points would open back up again. I had no exits for almost 3 years, and I wanted desperately to leave in 2019, 2020, and 2021. And they said, you can't leave. And I mean, I fought with them, and I just thought that was so unfair, because it was horrific. And so when March of 2022 was coming, you know, all I heard was that I could have an exit at that time. I know they told me, you're going to turn the corner and you're not going to want to. That's what they said. I said, I'm taking that exit. And they said, you're not going to want to. Your life is going to be coming back on track enough. You're not going to want to leave. And it was dicey. March was still not the best. I mean, I only just turned the corner a couple weeks ago, and the improvement has been pretty dramatic. As I sit here talking to you now, I never thought I would be able to do that again. Never. And so, what was the question? What was the question, Edna?
The question was, will you have a job with Da when disaster goes on?
So if I do, I think I'm going to be embodied here, because I think that I'm meant to stay for like 10 years anyway. I'm 70, some years old, 70. 71. And so I think I'm supposed to stay. And if who knows if the med beds come out, which I may or may not need one by then. But I guess if the med beds come out, especially if they do some age regression or something like that, I'm certainly good with staying, because I have had other than the last 10 years, my life was just a hoot. It's a lot of fun to be here. There's a lot of good things about it. And so I'm not necessarily in a hurry to leave. The only reason I want to leave is because I didn't want to, be in that state. So I don't know the answer to that. They haven't told me anything. I think that I did a lot of work before I got sick, or right early on when I was getting sick. I did a lot of stuff on the astral plane with Da and with my group, assisting in so many different ways. And I even have been down into what appeared to be underground tunnels, or I think that it was underground tunnels. It was horrific. I said I've been through a lot in my life with all the ET activity and the attacks on me, but the only thing that gave me post-traumatic stress disorder was I went into some tunnels and did some work there, and when I was in Arizona back some years ago, and I don't want to do that kind of stuff anymore. I told them no more of that. I'm not built for that kind of work. So it was awful. So I've been on a lot of different side missions. I'd go in my astral body, or I go in my ET form. So there's a lot going on, because we are all multidimensional beings, and so I'm not the only one. The people watching this are light workers and volunteers themselves, so I'm sure a lot of them are participating in the same thing. And everybody is getting triggered to, fulfill your mission, the work that you signed on to do. And we don't always know it ahead of time until it shows up, and then it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember signing up and saying I'd do that, but you don't remember it ahead of time. And it's probably a good thing, otherwise you'd just be consumed by it. Okay?
Okay. Well, I guess inadvertently you kind of already answered questions for two of the viewers. One was Katie, the other one Centro Verde. Basically, they're in essence asking, how are you feeling? And you look wonderful. So, but you kind of just answered that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing better. I'm no wheelchair, getting out of bed. I'm living a little bit of a life. I'm starting to have a life. So thank them for their concern. I appreciate, and I want to thank everybody for their prayers. I had so many people praying for me, and it's awesome. It makes a difference.
Okay. The next question is from Joanna, saying, hi Sherry, do you feel when the energetic shift of the dark increase, do you feel our suppressed memories of galactic experiences will come to the surface so we can finally have healing?
So she's asking if when the dark energy...
Yeah, when the energetic shift of the dark increases, or that's what she wrote. Do you feel when the energetic shift of the dark increases, do you feel our suppressed memories of galactic experiences will come to the surface so we can finally have healing?
Well, I think that anything that needs to be healed is going to be healed through this process. It has to be. You can't take any negativity or any fear or any lower frequency issues or thoughts with you. It is literally like passing through a sieve?
Okay, so just real quick, I'm seeing on the bottom, she meant to write decrease. So when the energetic shift of the dark decreases, okay, sorry, she made a correction a few lines down.
Yeah. I figured that's what she meant, or at least that was the interpretation she was asking. So as the light increases and the darkness fades away, anything that is dark within you it's not going to pass through the light. If you think of it like that, the light is like a filter, and you can go only so far before the darkness within you that has not been healed, the issues that you're carrying around, any judgments or anything that's of a negative frequency, it'll keep you from going higher. So what's happening on the planet through the ascension is an individual and a collective experience. So collectively, we are going with the earth into the fifth density. As individuals, we are going to the fifth, sixth, well, actually third, fourth, fifth, sixth, depending on your frequency. There are many, the majority are going to stay in 3D, and those who are going to 5D will go, and some could go to 6D. Some of the volunteers or light workers who came here and served may find, that the things that they experienced here helped to resolve some of their things that were keeping them, say, at level, well, if I use myself at 6.2, maybe when I come out of this, I mean, I've certainly learned a lot about the physical experience, and I've learned a lot going through the duality and the suffering of the physical form and all of that comes through being here on the planet. So maybe when I go through the process myself, which I don't know how that goes, or if I just get picked up and get taken back, but I think that I would certainly think that I would go through the process as well, and I will go to wherever resonates with my frequency. So maybe I've ascended to a 6 level 4 or something, and it's true of everyone. We all go to the frequency we resonate with. So yeah, that's the light acts as a filter. That's the best way I can think of to put it. So you can't bring any of that negativity with you.
Okay. Thank you, Sherry. For those listening on Telegram, feel free to raise your hand and ask some questions. So this is your chance to speak to Sherry directly. But we'll just keep on going with questions submitted over text in the chat rooms. Barbara is basically asking, how's the movie of Sherry's life coming along?
Sherry's life? I have a life now. I haven't had a life for a while. So I have a life. I'm able to get out and do a few things. So the film, I'm in touch every day pretty much with the people working on it, and it's exciting. I'm learning so much about it. I wish I could share everything with you, but I really don't want to talk about it until everything is finalized. But I'll just say that we're excited about it, and we have this one hump. I would say it's one more hump to get over before, I think, according to my guys, it's going to take off like a rocket. Or actually what they told me, it was going to be like an avalanche. Once we get over this one hump, then it's going to take off. Martha is telling me the same thing, that it goes slow. It's a waiting game, and you just have to sit there and wait as they put feelers out and they make connections and go through all that process. And then once you've got contracts in place and everything signed, sealed, then it's just a mad rush. Then it's like, hurry up and write. How many episodes? It depends on how many episodes the streamer is going to order. If it's going to be 6, 8, 10, 12 episodes that they want based on what they see. It's exciting. I wasn't excited about it before. As a matter of fact, I didn't want it very badly. I wanted it because it was my mission. But as a person, I didn't want the infringement on my privacy, because I'm such a private person, but here I am. And I guess, it's Martha's, I trust her. That's the bottom line. I trust the person in charge of it, and not that she's painting me with rose-colored colors and using rose-colored glasses. She has free reign to just tell the truth, and it's not always pretty. So I think it's going to be a very interesting series. I think people will be, as Martha would probably say, they're going to be gobsmacked. That's the word she uses. Yeah, and as far as my life, I'm starting to feel joy. It was getting very difficult to find things to be grateful for. It was very difficult to try to keep my frequency up out of the gutter. I will go so far as to say it's early yet, but I know the day is coming when I will definitely say that I'm so grateful that I went through that. It's a little early yet, but even at this point, I can see a perspective of where what I went through was such a learning experience, unlike anything I've ever experienced in any of my other lifetimes. It just was very interesting. So I'm grateful for it, I guess.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sherry. So I'm gonna take on Edgar. He's gonna be on Telegram. Wanna unmute Edgar. Edgar, you are unmuted on my end. Unmute yourself on yours, and please ask your question.
I am here, and my signal is going in and out, so I hope that you can hear me okay.
You're doing fine for now.
Okay, that's great. Sherry, it's such a pleasure and such a privilege to actually get to speak with you for all the different experiences that you have gone through and that you have shared so graciously with everyone, and how you're, as you started saying, that you sort of get tired of hearing yourself speak of the same thing. But I have been watching how your engagements bring up a new perspective and a new, fresh viewpoint on post your first experiences, and it's so refreshing, it's so helpful. So I hope that you do get to that point where you know how many people you have already touched, helped, and given them the first leg up and the first stepping stone into their path for what you have done. So thank you to you, and thank you to Adnan for bringing you one more time to have us have the opportunity to speak with you. And I have a question for you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I understand that there are several energetic star beings with you there right now, and I have a few star beings that are family of the ones that are with you, that are here with me, that wanted to say hello to them in their star language, and they feel that in their star language, it might be something that you would probably recognize from maybe when Da would speak with you, and they wanted to find out if that's okay if they say a quick hello to them.
I would love. They're going to speak in light language. I love that. That would be great. Yeah.
Okay, so there's several of them here, so I'll let them just come in. I gift that to you through them. I'm just right in the middle, enjoying the conversation, and I hope that the connection will yield a number of other meetings. And I think that they were sending you some beautiful showers of communication and love and other things for your next phase here on this earth for us.
Edgar, that was awesome. That
Okay,
was
thank you,
just
Edgar.
awesome. Is he still on there?
Yes, I think I can still hear you.
Here.
Yeah, that was just remarkable. A few of those sounded really, really familiar, almost like I could almost understand it myself. You know what they were saying. It was just yeah. You. I know you. I feel like I know you. Fabulous.
Yes. Yes,
So Edgar, was there another question except for the delivery that you would like to do? Otherwise, I was going to mute you, and then we'll have Sherry answer.
Yes, and this is just a quick question, personal. I have been trying to connect with you through your website, and responding to some of the beautiful notes that you respond back. But for some reason, it just keeps sending me to error. We cannot reach the server. So I'm not sure if there's either another way to reach out to you that you might want to let me know through Adnan if that's comfortable for you, or if there's anything going on with the website that maybe it'll be repaired soon, or any other reasons why I'm not getting through.
Okay. Okay, as far as I know, the website is working. I'm getting messages every day through it, and posting on the board is working. Not a lot of activity there, but there's some. I don't think there's a problem, but I will give admin permission to give my email address to you so you can email me personally.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Edgar. So the next question I have is from Penny again, asking, Sherry, have you ever encountered Sasquatch being on board a starship or starships?
No, not that I recall. I've never seen on the planet. I've never seen on the ship. Not that I recall. I've seen some, different looking ETs, both on the ship and in my house, or in my house, I guess, on planet Earth. But I've not ever seen one of them. No.
Okay. The next question is from Russell, asking, have you ever been told by Da if they will ever show themselves to humanity?
He is really saying that, he's never told me that, but he's saying that there will be a time when all the walls will be down and all the barriers between us will no longer exist, and we will all be rejoined as we should be, as one big family. So that probably isn't a very satisfying answer, but that's what I get from him.
Okay. Thank you, Sherry. I'm going to take one more question in chat, and then Anik had another question on Telegram. So since we have the time, I'll be more than happy to go back and bring him back in. This one is from Magnetize again, asking, have you ever been healed of a physical or emotional problem by the ETs?
My guys like to remind me that they are not healers, but I have had healing done by ETs. My guys do Reiki, and they also, when I was being hit with electromagnetic frequencies, they came in and injected both Jim and I with amino acids. And so that was a physical thing they were doing, and lots of Reiki. For other healing, they sent in these sweet little adorable crunchy face, kind of doggy face little guys. They're really little and very cheerful. They remind me of angels because they're always so happy and kind of giggle. They came in with a machine to, as they would say, clean my brain. And it went right immediately after I was poisoned with mercury, because that would have totally destroyed me. They came in immediately and started cleaning that out. And I have continued to have work done on my body. I haven't ever had where they have come in and totally healed me of everything and restored me to 100%, because apparently that was not my chosen path. My journey was one that I agreed to have the experience of going into sickness and heavy, deep suffering. So it was by choice, apparently, on a soul level, that I did that. I have, even before all of this, way back when I was 20 years old, I was diagnosed with a form of arthritis that was going to incapacitate me. I was 20 years old. I was young and very active, and I was distraught. The doctor was very blunt about it, said it ran in my family, arthritis, but this was not going to be pleasant. And my guys came in that night, and I don't know, I think I have that in the book, where they said to me, Sherry, would you live in a house that has a broken window? And I said, no. And they said, well, then why do you stay in a body that is sick? just like the house, you would replace the window with a new one and repair it so that it's like new. You can do the same thing with your body. And I thought that made sense. And I asked them to show me how to do that, and they did. And together we healed the arthritis that was in my joints and took it out of my body, pulled it out, and visualized it and did it. And I have never had any problems with my joints, even at this age. I just don't have any kind of arthritis or any kind of joint problem. So that one is the exception where I was totally healed of it. But otherwise, I've had other ETs come in. I had a wonderful guy who supported me. He's no longer on the planet, but he was supporting me, and he helped to bring in some ETs. It was pretty cool, the process that we went through. And so I've had different ETs, some that were invited in and others that just showed up. I'm grateful for it. Okay, that's my answer. Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, let me bring Anik in. Anik, you are unmuted on my end. Please unmute you on yours and please ask your question. You have to unmute yourself on your end, like you did the
Yes,
there you go.
sorry. I was actually following on the other side, so I didn't. Okay, so anyhow, my question was, how is your eyesight doing, and overall your health? Because you look good. That's nice to see, and we are all happy about that. But how do you feel inside? And then on the other hand, also wanted to know if you feel that improvement daily, because I think it's something that happens every day. And I wanted to know, last question, because I have one on opportunity, so I take it. Did these 10 years actually help you to have more compassion for the human species? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, help me remember those questions. The first one is about my health, my eyesight in particular. Yeah, it was pretty scary. I'm not back 100%, and I have these glasses on, but my eyes look, this eye in particular is really bad. It's all red. My eyes are still pretty bad, but I'm no longer, I'm not going blind like I was kind of concerned I was going to do. I can see enough. I can see better than what I could before, and it is improving. And I think it's going to come back 100%. I really do. Not to what I had when I was younger, but to the eyes of a normal 70-year-old person, I guess I would say. So I'm hopeful and feel optimistic about that. My other general health, the vertigo that I've been suffering with for the last 14 months is still with me. I don't walk into walls. I've kind of gotten used to it, and it varies from day to day. I notice that if I get tired or if I get upset, if something emotional happens, if I think too much, if I dwell on some things in my life, I get sad or something, then that takes a toll on me. It's really interesting to see how much of a toll my emotional status takes on my health. So I'm very conscientious about keeping my frequency high and actually, faking it until I actually, you can fake being happy until you actually, it becomes more who you are. Because I've been in a low frequency. Being sick means you're in a low frequency. It is not a good place to be. And to try to bring your frequency up from such a low place has been a real challenge, and it's been interesting how difficult it can be. So I am getting better day by day. I have wonderful people helping me. I have a healer who sends me energy every night. He's in the UK, and he sends it to me at his bedtime, which can be anywhere from 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in my afternoon until sometimes, I don't know what he's doing up all night, but he's up later than me some nights. But he sends me energy, and he's very powerful, very gifted, beautiful soul, and he is helping me tremendously. So I have him. My guys told me to come to the desert to get healed. They said there's someone there that can help you. I connected with this healer in the UK, And I also met up with a chiropractor down here who is holistic and who is amazing, just amazing. And he's the one who's bringing me out of it. I have an ENT who's helping me with the dizziness as well. So I've got Western medicine and I've got the holistic. So between everybody, yeah, I feel like I'm being guided very strongly as to what I should be doing and who I should be seeing and what protocols I should be doing. Let's see, the next question. Whoa, did
It
I?
was,
Yeah.
go ahead.
If this experience has helped me to have more compassion, was that the next one? And
Yeah, for all these 10 years, if
yeah.
yeah.
Well, everything we experience in this life, in this matrix, we choose. And, you know, I used to talk about that before these days of darkness descended on me. And I would say you can't be a victim and you write the script for your own life. And so you can't point to someone else and blame them. And, you know, I had to live by those words. I know they're true, but when I found myself falling into such deep, dark places, you do want to look around and say, who did this to me? And it's an interesting thing. I struggled with it a long time because I was here on a mission. I came here to be of service, and here I am. I felt like I couldn't fulfill my mission. I wanted to write a second book. I wanted to be out there speaking and giving comfort to people as they went through these dark days and all the fear of what's gone on. And I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't get out of bed, so I certainly couldn't do that. And it was a time for me to go within. And it surprised me, you know, the answers, the questions that I had, and then the answers that would follow. And I wrestled with my own demons. And I learned a lot about myself, having never been, apparently, I mean, I don't know when, I can't say never because we're eternal beings, but this planet, you know, it's a ball breaker. Sorry to be so crude, but it's just, it really is. And, you know, I learned so much from being here. And I said that before I came here, and anyone who knows me, who's heard me talk, has heard me say many times that I laid out my life. And I remember saying very clearly, I want to experience it all. The highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to climb the mountain and have the thrill of reaching that peak. But then I want to fall off the mountain. That's what I said. And I did. But what a trip, you know. So yes, I learned compassion, empathy to a degree that I didn't know even existed. I mean, I can't even watch a commercial on TV if it's got any kind of a, you know, that fake, where they try to fake you into emotions. Well, you know, they get me because I can't bear to hear about people being sick, people who are suffering with different ailments. It's hard for me to hear because I empathize with them so much. I know how much you can hurt without dying. I just thought dying was the great escape, that if you reach a certain level of sickness and pain and suffering, then it trips the trigger and you die. But I didn't get that out. And so you linger in it. And if I was made to do that, or I agreed to do that, then others, I'm sure, are doing the same thing. And my heart just breaks for them. It just breaks because this is a tough place. It's not a bed of roses by any means. But I took myself to a high perspective all the time, which is what I had to do. Always, 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 always. I mean, I used to say so often, I used to fall asleep and I would come awake, and through my day and through always I was saying, I choose life. I choose love. I choose the light. I would say that over and over again because the darkness was so strong around me. And I know that I was battling the dark. I was battling Lucifer, who actually even paid a call to me. And you have to never let your guard down. You have to be very sure of who you are, and you can't falter or weaken for a minute. You have to always be choosing love, choosing the light, always. And I would always say, you know, other than those few times, you know, not a few times, actually, there were quite a few times when I wanted to leave. But when the dark would come for me and say, your time is up, I would say, no, I choose life. I'm staying here. When I would get sick of being here, that's a different story. Then I would fight with Don. I'd be like, you have to let me go. You have to let me go. And, but when the dark would come for me, I would say, nuh-uh, you're not getting this soul. Not this time, not ever. So yeah, I learned a lot. And I learned a lot. Thank you for the question.
All right, thank you, Sherry. So the next question is from someone watching on Twitch. Username is Momisopika, and the question is, are the controllers an alien race or humans?
It's a mix, but the ultimate controllers, I understand, well, I know them to be off-world beings that came here and kind of staked a claim on planet Earth, which was never meant to be theirs. And they should have never gotten past the barrier to get in here, but the planet had fallen into a lower frequency. But there was, there's safeguards put in place on planets that are seeded with life. And this planet had those safeguards in place, which were basically, it was a high frequency planet. And so, just like I said before, where they can't share, negative and positive can't share the same time space. That's absolutely true. So the dark ones, the negative ones, negative frequency beings, would not have been able to get close to this planet way back at the early stages of it. But the beings here took in refugees and those from another planet in the system that had been destroyed or was about to be destroyed, and they introduced fear. And the Earth humans knew that was a possibility, but they were of such a high frequency, they really believed that they would pull. They thought they were doing a beautiful thing. And it's sad that it went the way that it did, because it shouldn't have gone that way, but it did. The negative ones pulled the high frequency beings down over time, and so the planet became approachable by these dark, I guess we could call them ETs, but dark beings, and they staked the planet, claimed it as their own, and started to manipulate and mess around with humanity, with the humans. So, did I answer the question, Adnan? Sometimes I get rolling on things. I get so focused on my memories and remembering what I need to recall.
You did to me. I mean, it made sense.
Okay.
You were saying there was a mix between both, and you went on.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that. Here's Russell's questions again, asking how much of the coming change will have to do with transhumanism?
Oh, good question. Transhumanism, that's the topic of the day. I don't think much. I don't think much. I do not believe that the Creator wants his children to be. No, I'm talking about transhumanism. I'm talking about AI, because that's my take on it, and that a combination of human and computer and all that. I just don't see that being the destiny, not for those who are choosing the light anyway. Those who have decided to stay in 3D or to stay aligned with darkness, and most of those who are staying in 3D are not aligned with darkness. I just want to make that clear, because it didn't sound like that's what I meant. But most of those staying in 3D are staying just because they've been so suppressed for so long. They couldn't wake up. It was just too much of a challenge. It would have been those native Earth humans who are ascending into 5D are remarkable souls. My hat's off to them that they were able to overcome the manipulation and the control enough to actually wake up on this planet, which has been such a prison. So the majority of the souls are staying in 3D because they never had a chance. They just didn't have a shot at it. They were born into this prison, and they've been reincarnated, recycled for so many lifetimes, and they're just beaten down. So they'll get to go to a planet where they can go through their awakening process and be guided and be inspired, unlike you were not allowed to do here. So those who are aligned with the dark, they may experience the transhumanism. Those who are continuing on their journey on that agenda, it's my belief that that's a dark agenda. And so if that's what you want to experience, you certainly can. And there's no judgment in that at all. Okay?
Okay, thank you for that. Next question is from Edward, asking, what does she think will happen in Ukraine? Putin, I can't believe I can't pronounce his name. Putin use nukes. There we go.
No. Okay, let's get controversial here, Ed. And I don't even know I think I know where you stand. I'm not sure. We're really touching on a hot subject here.
Go for it. Whatever you got.
I always have. I've never censored myself. If it doesn't resonate with you, hey, that's fine with me. But
No,
I'll
it's not about me. I just, because YouTube is just itching to take the channel down.
Oh,
And it's like,
okay.
Honestly, still, that doesn't stop me because I'll just move somewhere else. That's why I have Twitch going on at the same time, hoping people would move over to Twitch if and when we ever get taken down. So please don't hesitate.
Okay, I'll try to keep it light, not touchy words, sensitive words. But I would say that long time ago, I read energy, and I'm absolutely confident in my ability to read a person's energy and their energy field. So I read his energy years ago, and I was pretty surprised by it at the time, and I, over the years, sometimes questioned it, but I go back and I read him again, and I have no doubt, sorry, but Putin is working for the light. So he has no interest in using nukes. What I understand is that he is there on a mission to, and we've heard about the what do they call there were supposed to be the facilities where they were doing some pretty devious things, that he was there to take those out. The dark, the controllers that are of the Earth species, the humans, they have a lot of ties to Ukraine, their families, and they run a lot of their dark agenda businesses through Ukraine. And so they've got they had a lot of human trafficking and other types of nasty things going on in Ukraine, and he went in there to take out those facilities. He also has rescued a lot of children, I forget how many, that were being held captive there. As the trafficking is like the #1 thing on the planet for if you want to make money. It's rivaling drugs, might even be more than what drug running does. So the adrenochrome and oops, sorry, I said that word, but the child trafficking and the human trafficking was going through Ukraine a lot, and he is clearing out those tunnels along with the Alliance. It's not about, it's a multifaceted reason why he's in there. There's other reasons he's there, but Ukraine was never declared a separate country. It was always part of Russia. And he's just doing what he needs to do, and you can agree with him or not, but, and then there's the issue of those arcs, which I don't know what I make of those, that they found those arcs over there and that they are activated. That I don't know about, so I'm not going to go into that, but I do believe that he's there for benevolent reasons overall, and it's not, if you're following the war, I just would say that if you're following the war on mainstream media, you're watching a fairy tale. You may as well watch a cartoon. If you're going to watch the mainstream news, your time is better spent watching, although Disney cartoons are so nasty, they're loaded with all kinds of stuff too. So, gosh, it's hard to find a subject you can talk about without it getting very disturbing, even Disney, which it's wonderful that that's coming to light too. So, no, it's not what you seem. Nothing is what it appears to be on the surface. If you're taking what is being presented to you on the surface as truth, just flip it over. take whatever mainstream news is telling you and flip it over, because it'll be just the opposite, because they're programming you, and they're lying to you, they're manipulating you to suit their agenda. So that's all I'll say about that. I guess that was enough to upset
Okay,
a lot
good
of
deal.
people. Yeah.
Next question is from KJ Sulek, stating, was an important disclosure meant to happen during the Trump administration or in his second term, which didn't happen? Because at one time, your guys said that they would work with Trump.
Again, a touchy subject. I've lost some friends over this, but and lost a lot of followers. But yes, Trump is of the light, and yes, my guys are working with him. And he's in his second term, quite honestly. So they continue to work with him. They are working with the alliance, and as far as a big announcement, there's still time. So let's see if it comes. I know, they want more than anything to bring about the truth, the disclosure, but there's a lot of people still asleep. A lot of people who are still absolutely. I know people who, if they heard me saying these things, they just go livid because they're not ready, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They can stay asleep as long as they want, and that's going to see. Even my saying that sounds like I'm patronizing, and I don't mean to be. We've all been there. We've all gone through that process of being true to ourselves and being aligned with our belief system, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a fight with anybody about any of that stuff. We're playing this game on this planet, but it's a serious game because we're breaking down the matrix. It's been a prison planet. The good people, the good souls on this planet have been in prison for so long and recycled back onto the planet. This is serious stuff that's going on here. I don't have time to worry if someone gets upset with me if they hear that I'm for Trump. I'm sorry if it bothers you, but I'm sorry. But that's it. It is what it is. The bigger purpose behind all this is to bring this planet out of the prison it's been in and into the light. And however that happens, if you don't happen to like the personalities of those who are engaged in making that happen, well, okay. But yeah, it just is what it is. We're gonna get some feathers ruffled there, Adnan.
Well, I mean, like I said, UFO Hub is a platform. I mean, I had people that are for, they're against, so I'll let everyone else watch and make up their minds. So the next question, and actually I want to just do this real quick. So for those watching who would like to submit a question to Sherry, please make sure you use 3 asterisks because it helps me realizing that it's a question instead of just chat. I'd appreciate that. Also, you can speak to Sherry directly because simultaneously we have Telegram on, and this is being broadcasted via voice only, so you can raise your hand there and ask a question of Sherry directly. So you have those 2 options, and of course on Twitch as well. Just same thing, use 3 asterisks before submitting a question, because I've been kind of wanting to, some people that don't know are a bit late to this, they might not know, so I don't necessarily want to skip over the question if it's something that they really would like to be asked. And Jewel is asking, Sherry, has your contact and communication transitioned over the years? If so, what has changed or intensified?
My contact with my guys.
Yes,
She asked.
I believe.
Okay, you broke up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, it's changed a lot. It's changed a lot. Back when I was writing the book, they were preparing me to write the book. And then when I wrote the book, during that whole period of time, so probably, in the early 1990s, they left, and they left me for 10 years, came back in like 2000 or 2001 or whatever it was. And they were constant in my life during the times when they were active. And they were constant in my life during the time when I was writing the book and starting to go out to lecture. I mean, they were popping in and out of my bedroom at night, having conversations with me. It was physical, communication. And then right around, and I don't know, 2011, somewhere into there, must have been, or 12, yeah, somewhere into there, 2011 to 2013, somewhere into there, he told me that I was not going to be seeing them as much. I said, why? And he gave me a couple of reasons. He said, well, we're busy. We're into the thick of it with the ascension, with the shift, and we're busy with that. And also he said that it was harder for them to come in to connect with me because the planet and myself individually, we were jumping from 3D to 4D to 5D and back, and sometimes 6D. And I was just jumping all around. It was harder for them to target, to communicate with me. But so having said that, I definitely still hear from them, and it's odd when I do. It's usually when I'm having a conversation with someone else and we're talking, maybe Jim and I are talking about something, and he'll just insert himself into the conversation and start explaining or telling me his opinion or telling me what he thinks. And it's always welcome when he does that. I like hearing from him. It's usually information I need. When they told me to come to Arizona to, that there was a doctor down here that could help me, it's more of a memory of a conversation. So I'm apparently with them maybe at night in my sleep state, because it's less of a conversation where I will hear his big booming voice or something like I used to. I like the big booming voice. I like it when the pipeline would open up and I could stand there and physically hear him and we could talk back and forth like you're on a walkie-talkie or something. But anymore, what I get is more just a memory of having been told something, or I get an impression of, as I did today when I was talking to Martha about the film, and she wanted to know something, and so I put the question to him and I get a response back from him. But it's more in the form of like a remembering. It's just imprinted into my mind, kind of a thing, kind of, I guess, what we call the download. So I am in communication with him. It's just changing as the times change. So
Okay.
that's my answer.
All right. Yeah, she just said. She said just laughing at how he inserts. Many thanks for your answer, and every blessing for you and your strengthening health. People usually, I've noticed there was one comment a while back when you were on and you and I were talking. They were just livid that I was talking. They're like, the host needs to shut up, and and I'm like, and the point is like, most of the time I don't speak or interrupt, but when I have something to say, I really would like to ask it. So don't mean to be that person, but for those that are just cannot stand my voice, you're gonna have to just take it. What I was gonna something that you reminded me of was regarding contact, right? And I've had a few talks and just kind of conversations with people, and it's very interesting that they find or put more value on contact when it's in person. Let's say you saw a physical person or a thing standing there speaking to you, as opposed to, let's say, a telepathic message or dream communications or otherwise, right? But yet it's interesting that they don't find a phone conversation less valuable than a conversation with a person in person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's because to me, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree, that is how it literally is. It's like, just because I'm not seeing something, just because I'm not physically interacting with them right there in front of me, doesn't mean that this information is less valuable, that for some reason it's lesser sort of information. Or better yet, if it was somehow obtained, let's say during an ayahuasca trip, or if you're high on weed or something. It's like for some reason, that's less important, or actually that doesn't count. And I just always found that interesting because, if for example right now is this conversation between you and I not valid because you're not in front of me, all I see is a computer generated image and I hear your voice, that's also computer generated to mimic your actual voice. You see what I mean? And so
Yeah.
they don't see that same analogy. They'll they always like to make those differences or differentiations when it comes to these metaphysical aspects of contact, but they don't see how we actually interact in this world too.
It's interesting, Edna, because I would add to that and say that, sometimes the telepathic it's more clear and you can remember it, and it's just in your memory, easier to recall, because when you're with them, when they come in and they physically meet with me, I'm in an altered state because they're pulling my frequency up out of the 3D, and I'm meeting them halfway or however they can do it. And so you're in that altered state, and sometimes when you come out of it, it's foggy. It's more like it can be a dream state, and you have recall of the important points, but not always, whereas the telepathic, you're actually carrying on a conversation, and it's kind of, you can remember it word for word, and it's much clearer, I think. So good point.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to just a few more questions. So another one from Russell says, do you have an opinion on Lou Elizondo and that whole movement of disclosure?
Oh, I don't know who Lou Elizondo is.
Oh, he's the that guy that used to work for Pentagon. He was actually in charge of a program that they invested $21 million into, and then just recently, I guess he got out of it or retired, and then came forward. He initially kind of started something with what's his name, Tom DeLonge, and that whole
Yeah,
To the
okay.
Stars Academy.
Yeah, okay. So no, I don't have much of an opinion there.
Okay.
Other than, if it was the Pentagon and they put $21 million into to bring about a disclosure or something, is that what it was for, Adnan?
No, they were basically secretly studying it. It wasn't known only later. But it's interesting. They just now. I'm so confused. I have it online. I have this page where I've been following this bill that's supposed to create a UAP office where you can submit, and they would basically use that office to collect official data from whether government or people and whatnot, and they have these criteria of all the things they will I guess document and keep track of. Well, everyone else says it has passed already, but when I look at the bill, it says it hasn't been signed yet. So I'm confused. So some have told me it's passed. I don't see that it has, but I'm gonna, I guess, for let's say on off chance that I'm wrong and I'm not understanding certain things, there's actually officially a UAP office established, and it was under the Defense Authorization Act. Forgot which number that was, but anyway, it was very interesting of all the things that they were going to collect. Now, I don't know if this is like the beginning of them slowly kind of, okay, well, we've been tracking this and we have now data, and maybe 10 years from now they'll have more data. But anyway, that is something that I guess, I don't know if it inadvertently came from him, or actually, I don't know that it has anything to do with him, because it was two separate senators that have introduced this section into that bill.
Okay, yeah, see, no, I don't get a good read on DeLong. I don't trust anything with that much money involved. That's just it sounds like it's just the same as any of these other big projects where they've just run the money through there and it goes back into the pockets of those who are wanting to have a stream of money coming to them.
Right.
It's just, I don't trust anything that's tied to the government, if it involves the government in any way. So I don't see where we need that. Disclosure is going to come about when humanity's frequency gets to such a point high enough to where they aren't in fear about it, and they wake up enough to realize they've been played and controlled and brainwashed into believing that aliens are going to come and eat them and take over the planet, which they've already done anyway. So it's a matter of humanity waking up. The government or any group such as this with all that money behind them, it just, what I don't get, is that supposed to change things for them to get on a podium and say, okay, aliens are real, they're here, they've been here. I mean, that information is out there already. And there's enough of us talking about it. If people are curious and they want to know, they can find it right here on UFO Hub, if nowhere else. And, so I don't see where we need the government to. I've never been a proponent of that.
Well,
I,
I think
you know,
this is more for people that are still very much into nuts and bolts. But just to go back, I could be wrong, and I hate that I can't remember the exact facts. Either June or July 25th, 2021, is kind of considered to be the official government coming out and admitting UFOs exist. And it was because it was that very limited, but 5-page report. But that is a most I guess that have ever touched on the UFO subject than they have in the past 70 plus years. And so stating the things that they have stated in that report is pretty much coming right out. But I guess people still haven't, I guess, taken that as like, okay, that's it. They've said, but I guess they're still waiting for a president to sit there and then basically tell them, sitting in the Oval Office to tell them on TV. I guess the document wasn't enough. Because especially during the Ozark conference, Dave Marler and a few others that are still, very much into nuts and bolts, but again, nothing wrong with that. They look at that as this is government have officially acknowledged UFOs.
Yeah, that's coincides with that. What do they call it? The Tic Tac sighting, and all that, which is. Yeah, that I don't know. That all bores me to tears. I think it's just a smokescreen, but maybe something will come of it. That would be good, I guess. But I think it's going to be an individual thing. People will wake up to the truth when they're ready to deal with it,
Right.
and not until having the government tell us. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to get a big yawn. But.
Well, I mean,
So
in a way, it already has. It's almost like you have to dig down. Well, most people don't even know that it came out. Although it was on Fox News and I want to say some of the other outlets, but I could be mistaken. Okay, well, anyway, let's move on to more of the other questions. So this one is from Pikin B. Stating, how is it going to look when the transition happens from 3D to 5D? Meaning, if my children have to stay in 3D and I move on, will I die in their world or just disappear?
Well, I've asked about the children, because so many of the children coming in now, since the 90s, are of a high frequency. So they're already wired and they're already there. So you don't have to worry about your children. And that's a big issue for a lot of people. So I'm not sure how it's going to look. I demand it to be told how it's going to look. But I can tell you that they offered to take me one day when I was meditating. They came in and they said, do you want to go visit the 5D Earth? And I said, yes, I do. And I was allowed to go there. And there were humans there, but I was in a place where it was just nature and it was beautiful. And what I experienced was in the 5D world, the true 5D world, and I don't know if we're going to go there in the blink of an eye or gradually. Again, that's up to the collective, I believe. But the 5D world is like Earth was meant to be. I mean, it's pristine. It's just beautiful. There's colors there that you can't even describe. What I remember is every blade of grass being alive and noticing every blade of grass and every little dewdrop, and every leaf, everything was alive. Everything had spirit, everything had a soul, everything was connected to God. And there was no mistaking that you were in paradise. It was just a frequency that I wish I could stay there. It's beautiful. So it's Earth, but cleaned up and pristine and unconditionally sending love. So I don't know how we're going to get there. If it's I always had hoped that it would be in the blink of an eye, that there would be this event, which some are talking about, which I like thinking that that might be the way it goes. I mean, quite honestly, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there. I mean, I have my own vision, my own dream of how I would like the awakening or to the transition to go. And it would involve the unawakened. It would bring the unawakened would get, it would mean they would have to be shocked into being woken up. But there's an event that could happen that would bring that about. And it would shock them awake, make them realize that maybe what they've been thinking and believing, after all, you know, that it wasn't the way it was, but they were open to finding out. They wanted now. They had a thirst for knowing the truth because they realized they'd been played. Okay, they realized they'd been lied to. They'd been lied to over and over again. They had obediently obeyed, and by doing that they had put themselves and their families at risk. And now they found out that it was all lies, and it shocked them awake. And then voila, their frequency upon realizing that and learning the truth, their frequency expands and raises, and they're able to go to 5D after all. You know, because right now it's like 80% are not going to, but it would be a beautiful thing if the Native Earth human souls who have been here and been kept down, if they would have this massive, huge, spontaneous awakening. And I'm putting my energy into manifesting that because it would be a beautiful thing. Okay, that's all I've got to say on that.
So, well, Sherry, I'm not trying to put a limit on it. Just as an idea, and let me know what you think. I thought to take 4 more questions in chat and 1 more from Anik, and then we can finish there, or if you like, we can just after those keep going on. What are your thoughts?
So far I'm good. So we can do that and then see what time it is, see how long it takes, because I can give long answers sometimes. I don't mean to, but I get to thinking about things, and I don't know, I watch some of these with other people, and I always enjoy Q&As, but I get frustrated if they don't answer the question thoroughly. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm overkill, but I try to answer everybody's question thoughtfully and thoroughly. So let's see what time it is by the time we do that.
Okay, good deal. All right, so let me then go to Anik and unmute her. All right, you are unmuted. Unmute yourself and please ask your question.
Yeah, so I wanted first to come back to disclosure and say that actually, if you want more information, you go to the Black Vault and you receive there is more information about that subject and this report. But what I wanted to ask to Sherry now is, how do you do in countries like Cambodia, where people are actually struggling to survive with $200 per month, to wake them up to something higher? I mean, as you know, I'm cleaning up plastic waste. If you knew how many tons I get per month, and you can try to raise awareness, it doesn't work because they are just too used to that. That's number one. Number two, these people are still coming out of a trauma, because even if it was in 79 when the Khmer Rouge ended, the trauma is in their DNA. It's there. So these people are scared to learn, scared to evolve, scared to ask questions. So how do you do to raise awareness in these kind of countries where people are actually constantly scared away from knowledge even? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And that's a great question, and it breaks my heart to hear her talk about the situation, what it's like in those countries where they've had wars and such poverty. It's so sad, but that's what we're here. That's why this is happening now, because it's time. It's time. These poor souls have lived these lives of struggling and suffering. It's just, that is not what they were created to experience lifetime after lifetime. So anyway, the answer is, Anik, you live your life honestly, and in resonance with your truth, and by living your life, you set the example. You cannot, it's too late now to try to, I believe that those who are asleep right now are so ingrained because, here in the United States, there are people who, they have no clue. They actually, well, things are so obvious right now, but they're still clinging to what they have told themselves is their truth, and they refuse to look at anything otherwise because it would crumble their world. They don't want their world to crumble. They don't want to. For some, it comes down maybe to being right or wrong, which it should never be. But in the United States, it would be that way. Over there, it's a little bit different over there because it's just the day-to-day drudgery of just surviving, just to survive, is their focus. We're a little bit different over here, but those who are unconscious, who are asleep still, after all that the world has gone through, after all that has been shown to them and has been put in front of them, and they're still unaware of an inkling of the truth. They still don't believe chemtrails are real. They still don't believe that the 9/11 bombing was an inside job. They still believe Kennedy was assassinated by, what's his name? Oswald, yeah, I always want to say Ruby. And, and I'm using those older ones. I'm not using the ones from today because I don't want to step on any toes, but there's just, some things are just really, really obvious. But they have made that decision on a soul level to stay asleep. And you can't, I have totally given up. I am not even trying to wake people up anymore. I'm just living my own life, and I'm speaking my truth here. If people hear me and it doesn't resonate with them, and anybody who's been listening to this who's unawakened, they're long gone, because unless they are finally ready on a soul level, they have to be ready. Their higher self makes that decision for them. Their higher self gets in there and says, you're not ready to do this. You haven't had the right experiences. You haven't had this awareness. You're just not ready. Because as those of us who have gone through and have come to the truth, because I was one of those, I remember learning about chemtrails. I was unaware of that. I was awake spiritually, but I wasn't awake socially, I would call it, or politically. I wasn't aware of the real true nature of the hierarchy on this planet as far as the control system. Who were the good guys and who were the bad guys. And I hate putting it that way, but you kind of sort of have to know that. And if you don't know it, then you're unaware. And that's not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying it just is. The game is being played, and there are those who have chosen sides in this game, who have chosen for the dark and who have chosen for the light agenda. But you can't. I tell you, it's really hard to wake people up. It was hard when my guys came and told me that I had to be personally responsible for waking up 90 people in my personal life, not through the book, but just personally. I had to personally help to awaken 90 people. I was like, oh, come on, give me a challenge. Give me a break. And they said, it's not as easy as you think. And boy, have I learned that. It's a matter of it's not just a spiritual awakening, knowing that we are one with our Creator, knowing the truth of that we are sovereign beings, and knowing all that. It is also being aware of what has gone on the planet and taking responsibility for what has gone on the planet. And that's not easy, because you have to look at the dark. You have to actually look at what has gone on with the innocence on this planet. The innocence has been attacked. It has been brutalized. Our children and our babies, and it's just horrific what has happened. And too many people can't bear to look at it, and I didn't want to look at it. But you know what my guys told me, you can't pretend that it didn't happen. You have to take responsibility. We are all responsible for looking away and refusing to see it. And by doing that, we gave our power to the controllers. So all you can do, Anik, is live your life in the light of who you are. Extend unconditional love to everyone you meet, and make that your habit. And I know that you do that, but that's what people need to do, is no judgment, live on a higher frequency. Be in the 5D world now. Be conscious of it. Be conscious of every thought you have. Be conscious of every deed. And live your life on that level. And that's how you bring about the change, because you will go to that frequency. That's where you will reside. That's where you will live. And you'll create your own 5D world. You resonate with it. And before you know it, you're not going to have that many people in your life that are that off from your frequency, that are that much out of tune with you. We're all finding our tribe right now. It's a miracle the way it's happening. I'm watching it happen every day. We're all finding those who resonate with us and who are of the same mindset as we are. You know, people who are wanting to heal and to help the planet and to go beyond this matrix. And by doing that, that's the best thing you can do. And that's the best thing you can do for the sleepers. I'm sorry, I don't mean that. I don't mean that to be a derogatory term. I just don't want to always have to explain, you know, but that's what I call the unawakened. They are still asleep. They are still living in their dream world of where they've figured out that they've got it all neat and tidy, and they get to keep their job, and they get to keep their house and go to work every day and get their paycheck and go on their 2-week vacation every year, and that suits them just fine. If they were to stop and look at the truth of the situation, of what's happening, at the real truth, they know it's there. On some level, they know it's there. They're just not ready to deal with it. So let them continue with their dream until they're ready, because they know what's best for them. It's not for us to try to cram it down their throat. And I know you're not saying that, but you know, sometimes we want to do that for those we love. We just want so badly for them to know.
Okay, thank you for that, Sherry.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to divert from the rest of your questions. I just want to comment something real quick. You know, there was, I don't get to very often take time to listen to Bashar anymore, but on occasion when something comes across and it's such a rarity, I was like, okay, I'll take the 5 minutes or whatever to hear it. And somebody asked this very question after all that has gone through and all this difficulty and strive. You know, what do we do? You know, what can someone do? And it seemed like such a overused answer, and we always have our own beliefs attached to it. But he just simply said, you know, forgive. Forgive, you know, forgiveness. So simple as that, you know. And it was just answering, you know, all these, you know, these things that, you know, things that I've done to others during the pandemic with the vaccines and all this other stuff. He just, you know, basically, you know, it meant to me a different, you know, it wasn't a cop-out. It wasn't like, oh, you hurt my so-and-so and whatever. It's like, you just want me to forgive it. It was meant on like on this different level. You know, it's about, you know, because it's almost felt to me like you will never find peace if you just hold on to payback.
Right. It's, I would add, I would call it quantum forgiveness, Adnan. Before, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I would call it quantum forgiveness, because, which is meaning that you don't look at somebody else and find them lacking and judge them as being wrong or being lacking or being this or being anything. You just understand that they have a different perspective and they are being true to what they believe, and you forgive, which means you allow them that. You let them be who they are, and you are who you are, and you're still one with them. They're part of you and you're part of them. You're part of the Creator. So forgiveness is a different kind than what's taught in the Christian church, where you look at somebody and you say, oh, you're a sinner, you've done wrong, and so I find you guilty, but hey, I'm a good person, so I'm going to forgive you. No, this is forgiveness like quantum forgiveness, where you don't see that kind of judgment. You just see an innocent soul that for the time being is making choices that are not aligned with your choices, and that's okay.
Right. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, you weren't interrupting.
Yeah,
no, I completed my thoughts. Thank you, though. So the next question is from Starseed, basically stating, will there be a catastrophic No, catastrophe. Will there be a catastrophe happening that will rock the USA in May or June of 2022?
My guys don't give me predictions too often. What I count on them to let me know things. I know that they would let me know, for instance, this food shortage everybody's talking about. If there's going to be a food shortage, they would be setting me up to make sure I'm taken care of, and they're not doing that, at least not now. I'm not in a position to put in a garden or store up a bunch of food because we're traveling. And so if there's something going on, I usually have a sense of it. They would have given me a heads up or made it clear that I need to be ready for something, and they haven't. Now, could there be something else? There's all these talks of different things, an invasion of our country or anything. I don't know. They haven't told me that. That's not their role. That's not my role, is not to predict things like that. I would just say, live your life in the moment, in the present moment. Keep your frequency as high as you can, extend love to everyone, and forget about all that other stuff. Because as soon as you start to think about all of that, you fall into fear. And when you're in fear, that's when you can be so easily manipulated and controlled. And so, we can win this war, which is exactly what's going on. We are in this massive war. We are winning, but we would win a lot faster if everyone would really just turn off the news, turn off the TV, and stay focused on your sovereignty and your oneness with the Creator, and be in nature and all that. And I know that sounds hokey, but we'd be there. We'd be there in 10 minutes. The whole thing would be done with if we could do that. So I don't know if there is. Hey, deal with it when it gets here.
Okay. The next question is from Joanna again, asking, do you have any insight to the flooding and extreme weather in Australia? If this is an act of the light, of cleansing, or part of the dark agenda?
I am not in a position to give a response to that accurately. I can give you just my own opinion. I know that there's a lot of cleansing going on, and Australia right now is in the thick of it. They are still going into the underground spaces and clearing out the facilities that are down there and the dark crap that went on. So I'm guessing that a lot of that is being done by the Alliance, and that they're doing what they did, earlier here. We cleaned out, the United States, I think, got their dumps cleared out, and most of the underground tunnels, and the children were taken out back, during the time that Trump was in office. And I think that pretty well was finished up some time ago, or certainly is done with by now. So I think they're doing Australia now. It's the priority of the Alliance, I understand, to protect and to rescue the innocent ones. So that's what I think you're seeing going on there. There is weather manipulation, definitely. There's weather manipulation. I believe, we have fires down here, and I think there's going to be a lot of fires this summer. I think that would be the dark. Anything that's like that would be the dark, for sure.
Okay,
So,
thank you for that.
Yeah.
The next question is from Momi Sopika on Twitch, stating, I heard from someone that extraction of humans has started taking place. Does Sherry know about this event?
Extraction of humans for what purpose?
I don't know. It doesn't state. Maybe if she's or he watching, they could clarify. I wonder if it's something about. I don't want to assume and take this question out of context, but remember a while back, I've even heard about a certain number of people will be taken to another planet like Earth and kind of taken on board and all this other stuff. I don't know if this person is referring to that.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it could mean that, or it could mean, are they being arrested, extracted from society, arrested and taken to
Good
tribunals?
point. Good point. Could be. I don't. Maybe
But
questions. I don't know if I can find this person's clarification if they
well,
do
you
come
know, that's
back.
okay. I'll just say that you know, if she's referring to the tribunals, are people being arrested? Yes, that's absolutely going on. As far as extraction and taken to another planet or taken off the planet, I don't believe that's necessarily happening by the ETs or anything along those lines. I am not aware of that. Certainly, there are some volunteers and light workers who might have chosen to leave, but I think it would show as a death here. They would choose to, you know, because I was given that option to leave when things got really bad for me, way back when they knew that they were, you know, before the attacks even started, we knew that that was probably a possibility that was going to happen for me. And I was given the option of leaving and coming back on the ship, and they wanted me to do that. But it would have been, you know, through a car accident. I would have died. I had to die. So I don't think anybody's just being plucked off the earth. I don't see that as being a viable way of carrying out the process of ascension. So
Okay.
that's just my thoughts. Yeah.
The next question is from, I'm not sure I pronounce this, Crith. Creeth. Basically asking, has Sherry seen Beyond Mystic on YouTube? And if she has, what does she think?
Beyond Mystic. I think I've seen.
I think it's another YouTube channel. Yeah, it is another YouTube channel, I guess, where they do interviews too.
Oh yeah, okay. I've seen it, but I don't think I've listened to it. I get sent stuff every day from people. I would say I average like 8 videos sent to me every day, which I can't possibly watch. And so I'm very selective. You know, I stay with you, Adnan. I'm following Michael Sala right now. I like Gaia. You know, there are certain things I like, but I try not to be on the computer very long. My eyes are really, you know, I'm going to pay for this right now. My eyes are really bad, and I'm trying to protect them. My priority is my health right now, so I don't spend near the time on the computer as what many people probably do. No, I do not know. I'm not aware of that. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so that was the 4 questions and one on Telegram. Would you like to take a few more? I think there were a few more that raised on Telegram, and there's a ton in chat. I know we will not get through all of them, but again, I'm leaving it up to you because I appreciate you taking the time, and it seems like my voice is doing fine. I mean, thank God for mute because I've been coughing my lungs out this whole time. I just would.
No. Oh, really?
It's fine. It's fine. It's just it would not look pretty if I for some reason would forget to mute or have the screen on me because I would be like going crazy. Yeah, I know it's just been bothering me a lot, but I did not want to cancel this. I did not want to cancel this because I know from last time, I know you had your reasons, and I was like, no, I got to get through it.
Oh yeah, last time I'm sorry. I had to bail with you. I came under attack. It was pretty bad. But anyway, to answer your question now, Jim went to get dinner, so let's do it until he comes back with the food because I'm hungry.
All right,
But
good deal.
I'll continue until he gets here, which he'll probably be here in the next 10 minutes or so. So
All right. Well, let's get on it then. Well, Niels had his hand raised, so let me try to bring him in here. Niels, you are unmuted on my end. Unmute yourself on yours, and please ask your question. And please, if you can just ask the question only, and then so we can move on and get more guests, please. Niels, are you there? Okay, I guess maybe he had his hand raised, but maybe he stepped away. Boo, you are unmuted. Unmute yourself on your end, and please ask your question.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Aiden, and I hope you feel better soon, mate. And love
Thank
your
you.
work. Thank you so much. Sherry, one of my biggest passions, pretty much the biggest passion here on the planet, is nature, the trees, the animals, all of it. And I pray a lot. And my question to you is, what's going to happen with them? Are they, I mean, I've seen so much land clearing and habitat destruction to make way for more human houses. And it just breaks my heart all my life. And obviously, I've wanted to leave a few times too. But I'm wondering what's going to happen for them, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Love her accent. That's a great accent she's got. Um, with the animals, I mean, I'm the same way. Gee whiz, I'm a huge nature lover. Just I understand totally where you're coming from. My understanding is that the animals are going to go with us, and there are actually some of them have already moved on up the ladder and are already existing in the 5D. So I know that it's hard to watch what's happening, but the humans can coexist, and they will in the future coexist with the animal kingdom and the elemental kingdom, totally in harmony. We're a ways from getting there, but we're slowly going to make our way to that frequency, and it comes with awareness, because I don't know, where I live in Wisconsin, there seems to be a war on against trees, and I have a really soft spot for trees. I love communing, and I can communicate with the trees. I just absolutely love them, and they're just tearing them out. Along the road where I used to walk, they tore out almost all of them, and they took out beautiful 100-year-old oak trees. I don't understand it, but I'm sure it's coming from the top down, that the controllers have this war going on against the environment. At the same time they're lying to us about, that we're destroying it. They are actually manipulating and putting agendas into place that will destroy the environment. So the best thing we can do is to be aware of that, to see the truth of what's really going on, and to become active in not allowing it. And being active means, maybe getting involved in your local government positions where they make decisions based, on these things. Sometimes it just takes one person, as Da likes to say. It starts with one, and you can have a huge impact. Just get involved, get on your county board or whatever it would be, or at least go to the meetings and have your voice heard. Start a petition. Do whatever you can to have an impact and to bring about change. And don't feel defeated if you don't get everything your way, because it's a tough battle, but you're shining a light on it, and that's what's important. Every time you shine a light on it, and you help to bring awareness. So talk about it, and I just think people don't understand how much of an impact they can have. They think because they're one person that it can't make a difference, but they're so wrong on that. It only takes one person. You can make a huge difference. So that's what I would encourage people to do.
Okay, thank you for that. Just real quick, so Penny was saying something, the sound is broken. I was checking in the background, and I have someone else watching that's giving me feedback and said everything's fine. Maybe you might need to refresh your browser, because I cannot, everything seems fine to me, and you hear me just fine, don't you, Sherry?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I kept, watching the stream and making sure they can all hear us just fine, because sometimes it does break up and whatnot, and there's a few things I can do, but my wife is watching too, and she said sound is just fine, so she can't hear what's being heard. So okay, says I can hear again, all good here. Okay, all right. All right, so All right, but it seems that we're fine. We're getting some good feedback that they can hear us again. Anne Van is asking, Sherry, do you know about the Tage, Taygetan, the Gentins, and the Cosmic Disclosure Channel?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
How do you pronounce it?
I think it's Tajans, maybe.
Okay,
Is that
sorry,
something?
this is the first time I heard of it. So if you can speak to that, please.
Oh, well, just as it relates to the Gaia channel, I'm enjoying that series a lot. It's thought-provoking. There are some things that they talked about that don't resonate that highly with me, but I'm going to go back and revisit those. I just to see why that is that I'm not in alignment with it. But I think it was the program they did about what happens to you after you die. That was I had some issues on that one, but I'm going to go back and listen to it. I think a third time because I already listened to it twice, and see if I'm misinterpreting or just being open to what they have to say. But it doesn't resonate 100% with me. But I do like pretty much everything else they talked about. I liked the part on the pyramids. I was telling Jim, actually, Adnan, you'll get a kick out of this. I was at the Ozark Mountain Conference. I was presenting there when the guy was there who I think he gave a talk about Egypt and the pyramids. And I think he was the guy who did behind that movie. It has that cool song where they're running along the beach. What is that song? Anyway, you would know his name. He's a very well-known guy. He was speaking at the conference, and he was standing. In his talk, he said, "If anybody knows how the pyramids were constructed, I would love to know."
What
I'd
year
love to
was
hear.
this?
Oh, it was back in 2000 and what it would have been 14, 15, 16, somewhere into there. He did that. What is that movie? It won all kinds of awards. And it has that song that is very distinct to the movie. But anyway, I'm sorry, I just had his name. We were talking about it the other day because I was telling Jim about it. Because I went up to him at the dinner. He was standing up at the bar, and I went up and started talking to him. And I said, "So you want to know how the pyramids were built?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "I happen to know." And he was amused by that, which I knew he would be. He's a really nice man. And he said, "How do you know?" And I said, "Well, because I was there as an ET." And he said, "So how were they built?" He was humoring me, but it was serious. And I said, "We use sound frequencies. We use the frequency of sound to lift them up and to put them in place. And we used like lasers to cut the material and everything." I said it wasn't done by slaves or anything like that. So it was very interesting to me on this Gaia channel that they talked about the construction of the pyramids, and that's how they said they were built. They use the frequency of sound, and somebody else came out with that just recently too.
So was this guy a producer or another contactee? Or?
Here's a producer, I believe. He wrote the book. Chariots of Fire. That's it. Chariots of Fire. Do you know that book?
Are you
What's his
talking
name?
about? I don't know
What is his
about
name?
Chariots of Fire.
Chariots of Fire. It was written by
Are you
this guy.
talking about Van Daniken?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't think he was a producer. I thought he was the author of that, and he was the
Yeah,
one
he
that
wrote-
made basically History Channel is basing their ancient history program on all of that research.
Okay.
He's
I
the
don't
main
know.
source, I think, that they're basing all of that ancient alien stuff, and basically have taken a lot of what should we call it,
He-
artistic, I guess. Oh goodness, what is the word? Can't speak English, still. Oh, it is getting late here, 9 o'clock. Not indicating we need to finish. I'm just saying my brain is slowly dying down here because I've been up since 5. Oh, anyway, so yeah, that was I think in 17. That was the time when TC conference and Ozark conference were together, and he spoke First part was during the TC conference, and then second part was during the UFO conference, because it was a whole week event.
Okay. Well, anyway, I got to talk to him, and he was a sweetheart of a guy. And but it was very affirming to me to watch that channel on Gaia, have them say that it was the sound frequencies that they used to construct the pyramids with, and put the blocks in place. And then someone else said it this last week that Jim and I were listening to a talk on YouTube, a really interesting talk, and that's what the guy on there said, the same thing. So, yeah, I'm starting to get tired. I'm running out of steam, and it's like I hit a wall. I'm good, and then all of a sudden I hit the wall. So I think I'm ready to call it a night.
I guess we all like lithium batteries. We keep running, and then bam, done.
Yeah.
Well, let me see one more time to give Niels a chance, and we'll make him the last person for tonight, if that's okay with you.
Yep, that's fine.
Because I always encourage people to ask questions on Telegram, and I don't want to have him miss this chance. So, Niels, are you on with us? And if you are, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, I just want to ask a question. I've met some 9 or 10 foot tall beings.
Please speak up a little bit.
I met beings on a beach. I know that the star people are here. I've had experiences with them, interactions with them. But what can we do to be more open to invite star beings and say, we're ready to meet them? And what really does the human race have to do to understand what we are as divine beings, and what our future is with these star people?
Great, thank you, Niels.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I'm glad that's our last question, because that's a good one. I would say talk to them. I get up every night, during the night, at some point, usually right around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and I just have done this for years. I go to the window, I look at the night sky, and I talk to them. I communicate with them. They're there. Your star family, your cosmic family is there. They are, sorry, but they're watching us a lot of the time. They're always aware of us, just like I was when I was on the other side. I was out there and I was listening, and which means that I was open to frequencies where there was communication lines being opened up. And so the same is true with your star family. We all have connections to certain, we'll call them ETs, but certain beings who are out there on the other side, outside of this matrix. And they are watching us. They are, doing what they can to help without interfering, doing to the limit that they are able to help us. So they're there. So just talk to them, connect with them, set up a line of communication, tell them that you're open to hearing from them, that you're open to meeting them, even if you are, but be careful with that, because sometimes you're not prepared for it. But just talk with them, and then listen and allow yourself to hear them. And it might be very subtle. It might come in the form of a dream, or just of what you think is an imagination. But you almost for sure you'll hear from them. Really, I believe that, because they're waiting for that. They're waiting for us to connect with them. It's not that they don't have their own lives, because they do. They have a life they're living. But those who are on the ships and are here orbiting the planet and watching us, many of them are open to hearing from us. So that's what I would do, is just be in that frequency of love and appreciation for them, for them being here and helping to guide us, and for them caring. I mean, there's so many of our family that are out there. They want us to come through this. They want us to get through this. It's critical that it's a birthing process. We're not in a fragile place, but we are going from 3D to 5D is an amazing thing. It's just an amazing thing. So appreciate it, be aware of it, enjoy it. Don't be afraid. Let it happen, and welcome your cosmic family to be here with you, to join with you on it. So I think that's a great question, and glad to be able to make that my last comment. So,
All right. Well, Sherry, thank you very much again. I'm pretty sure
Yep.
everyone else watching is grateful that you took the time to answer, their questions, because I mean, a lot of times, when people hear about people, contactees or authors and other people, you don't, there's usually not that much, access to them. So I certainly appreciate you making yourself available here. And I'm surprised that there's not more people, just taking all these, chances to come and talk. Because usually it's always conferences, or maybe if they get lucky over a phone call that they can get a hold of someone that they can talk to and ask some questions directly. So, thank you again. I appreciate it.
okay, no problem. I'm wired to do it. I love doing it. It just, my health has been the issue, as we know, but I'm hoping to get back into it even more. I love talking to people about this stuff. Oh, and here comes my dinner.
All
Right
right.
on
Well,
cue.
you stay strong, so we can do a lot
Yep.
more of these.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it, Ed, and thanks for having me. I appreciate your patience
No,
with
thank
me.
you. It's an honor as always. So everyone else watching, thank you all very much for joining us. I hope you got to ask your question. You always have that ability on this channel, so I hope you take advantage of it. Sometimes I do a good job of letting you guys know ahead of time who's coming and what's happening, and sometimes I only give a few hours. But I hope if you're subscribed and you get all the notifications, that would give you a heads up. So Sherry, again, thank you. Everyone else watching, thank you, and see you all later.